Hi guys, and welcome back to the hot seat. We're going to jump right in and get to our first guest. She's a person who has so many talents in front and behind the camera. We're going to find out in front because she's probably going to be really great at talking about everything that she's doing and very intellectual in what she does. She's prominent in photography and film and also has a little culinary art side to her as made it her business. So everyone, please welcome Ms. Amber Starr. Thank you so much for coming. It is a pleasure to meet you. Please sit. You're our first guest today on the hot seat, and I cannot wait to get to know more about you. I'm so glad that you're here today.
It's an honor. Thank you so much.
So, on your website, you have a lot of things going on. First, it's a great photo of you.
Thanks.
Like, it's obvious that she's holding a camera, she's a photographer, and she's obviously great at what she does. And then you also have a section where you do sell treats like macaroons and things like that. You are prominent in culinary arts because that's something that you kind of love on the side of everything else. So please tell the viewers like what it is, like what's the start? How did you get into doing all of these things?
Oh, wow. So my love of photography and video work started a long time ago. I actually was a photographer's assistant in a studio growing up, and so it caught my eye to take people's pictures, and then I became curious about their stories, so I just wanted to continue. I couldn't get enough. I went to school, got my bachelor's degree, and I kind of fell out of my love. I think we all kind of get burnout on things, right? And so on the side, something that I've always done is my sweet treats. And by the encouragement of family and friends, they asked me to start selling it. And so I make all these cake bombs and sugar spears and macaroons, all kinds of sweet stuff. And that encouraged me to pick up my camera again. So sometimes as an artist, we kind of devil out of things, right? And then it takes another art form for us to get back into it. So that's my story.
Yeah, so what really drew you? What was really the motivation that you're like, oh my God, I want to be involved in camera work in the beginning?
I think it was just having these simple conversations with people. I feel that God has blessed me with 2 ears and 2 eyes, right? And I'm really good at listening to people. And so I've always had this gift of having these conversations and pulling the best information out of people. And because of that, it just drew me to small businesses or people who are starting in their crafts, learning more about themselves and getting the best information so that they can talk about themselves the best way.
Yeah, I noticed when you write about, kind of a short biography on your page, you talk about learning about people and their stories, just kind of like how I do here, but you bring it out in a way that you showcase it on camera. Because a lot of times people, even in this situation, we have a camera here, even though we're talking, it takes a minute for people to really showcase who they truly are and how to bring that out. So is there a way that you might talk to a client or do a certain job or even on your own collab time that you'll kind of bring that form out of them in form of a picture?
So I think it's really important to take time to get to know your client, who you're talking to. Just like you looked up all of my information about what I do. I take time to have conversations and listen to people about what their fire is and what their passion is. I also take time to interview 2 or 3 people that are around them. Maybe their spouse or maybe their best friend or maybe an assistant that works for them. And I ask them a series of questions that kind of give me insight about a person that they don't really see.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of different perspectives that we have about ourselves, right? And we can't always see them. And so I use those resources of people who love them and care about them and want them to flourish. I ask them those questions and then I guide them with that information to bring out their light.
Yeah, I love that.
Thanks.
So that means you care.
I
It means
do.
you put time and effort into making something of quality.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't just take pictures or film something just for content's sake. You do it to actually have meaning behind those things. So is there something that is probably your favorite work of art in regards to either film or photography that you've done that still stick with you to this day?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I think, honestly, I really like taking pictures of food. I do. I love taking pictures of food. To me, as a photographer and video work, lights is really important to me.
Yeah.
And the register of that, creating that dimension. So I would say food, any kind of still work, or even just, fine art portraiture, I would think would be, as far as people goes. But yeah, that would be it.
Yeah, more food photography,
I,
product photography.
I do. They don't back talk. I can post them however I
you
want.
can do it, right? And it's an
they
art.
stay still. They don't go anywhere.
And because you have baking experience, cooking experience, you kind of know like what's really aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
Because even when we watch commercials of restaurants and things like that, the time they spend to do that one shot. Right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of care into that one thing to make it picture perfect.
Absolutely.
Like we're talking like 6 hours for like that one burger.
Yeah. And all the tricks in the trade and the hairspray and the glue and the misting. It's crazy the amount of effort that we put in to make things look perfect, for the screen or for pictures. So.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I like that.
So where is your passion going towards the film aspect? Are you more commercial? Are you trying to get more into like literal movies and things like that? Or you just do a lot of B-roll?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think my passion and my calling has been, I really just want to tell stories about our small businesses. I really want to help people grow and shine. I think people's light to shine bright in the world is important. And I want to highlight that. And I want to give them those opportunities to make them grow and showcase what their talents are. So I would say more storytelling and like commercial, maybe news, editorial, things like that.
Yeah.
That's what's my calling. That's what's on my heart right now. So.
I can see documentary for you too.
Absolutely.
Some local documentary. A lot of things, because that's where true talent lies. You see a lot of people who really work from the bottom to get to the top, and they're just trying to thrive doing what they love, and that comes from people who put their heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that's local places, mom and pop shops, things like that, where you wouldn't normally go.
Right.
Not as commercialized as the celebrity chefs on the strip, the hotels, things like that.
And they need light too,
Yeah, everyone does.
Everybody needs light.
It's a giving culture when it comes to entertainment, which, culinary arts, in a way, is part of that. It's an art. It's trying to, do all of those things. So I know that you grew up in Ohio, like in the Midwest. I'm from Chicago, so we kind of have that comment.
Yeah.
But so you grew up there, you're really inspired by, was it your family, your mother in particular, that loved to bake and cook and stuff?
So my mom, she was a jack of all trades, right? Just kind of like myself. She was a beautician for years, and she did people's hair, but she had a side love of food. And she just had this way of tasting anything in a restaurant or wherever she went, and she would come home and she would identically make it just by her taste buds. She was just so magical about that. And so I grew up in that cooking and getting in the kitchen and experimenting with things. And so that was something that I always grew up in and found love in. And so as I started with my chocolates and candies, that's really what I started making. I gave away for Christmas gifts, and then it started evolving into these cake bombs that look like flowers, and then sugar spheres, and it just went into a whole this, how things kind of morph into other bigger things. Yeah, that's kind of how I started, but.
Yeah. So as of today, that became your specialty, more so the baking and doing sweets. And like I was just telling a friend recently, like a lot of people are really great at baking, and then some people are really good at cooking, but sometimes like it doesn't like collide. Like I can't baking to me for some reason. It's just not a thing on my end. But on a stove, I could be up there making something edible. But it's just a lot goes in to having the right sweet treats, because you don't want to be that, because it's a bit part of your business. And do you get a lot of clients that come back that are really loyal to you, and is that a really thriving business?
I really do. I have a select few that have been going strong. I've only really been pushing this business and my sweet treats for about a year, but I have about a handful of a following that come back for any kind of needs if they want to give gifts. But going back to what you were saying, cooking and baking are completely different. Cooking is more of an expression, right? It's more of I think there's more art to that, Even though baking is an art form, it's more precise, kind of mathematical.
It is.
Because
Yeah.
you have to do it just right. But yeah, I just enjoy it, and it seems like the customers that I do have that keep coming back, they see what I do, and they enjoy what I make for them, so they keep coming back for more.
That's just compliment to you, because any chef, any person who makes something edible is just kind of like, oh my god, if they love it, then like that's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't care, right? Like, oh my god, like thank you, because you're just hoping that, oh my god, if I mess this up, like, right?
Yeah.
And I also know that you have your BA in digital photography as well. So a big debate that goes around in entertainment is kind of like, people think that you don't really need an education behind the crafts that go into entertainment, whether it be acting, photography, producing, you get it, right? I'm on the end that I feel like it's very helpful to have the education and that training. It kind of gives you more of a foundation. How was that experience for you in training under photography? Because it came from a passion that you have.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm personally kind of torn with education and versus experience, because I think with video and photography, it really is about hands-on. So I think a lot of can be said about a person who just hops in and jumps in and gets their hands, roll up their sleeves, gets dirty in it, and that tenure. But I think the educational part, for me, the reason why I wanted my bachelor's is because I felt going into the commercial aspect or advertising aspect, it was important for me to have that piece of paper for seriousness, I guess, if that means anything. But to me, I wanted people to take me serious. And know that I had invested the time that school provides you with, showing that you go through those, you put the time in, right? So that's why that was important to me. But I still am on the fence, because I know that if I would not have done my bachelor's, I still think I would have learned as much at being a shadow to someone too. So I think it depends on like what realm you want to go into and what you're trying to communicate or who you want to work with, right? For me, because I wanted to go into the advertising and commercial work, I felt like having that bachelor's was kind of like a more professional stance for me as a woman. So.
When it comes to marketing, especially these days, people it's a whole thing. Social media, billboards, online presence. In marketing, a lot of people are fighting for those spots because, and so a lot, that's why, and it's competitive across the board, especially in any art culture. But, and I realized having that training experience on top of then also going out there and just learning as you're doing, you have something that no one can take away from you.
Exactly.
And you can't, if you try to go backtrack and go back and get it, that's like time, right? And it takes a while, and it's a lot of work, and it's to center yourself and humble yourself, and then just letting go and being like, just tell me, what am I doing today, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And learning things that you might not necessarily ever use, but it's having that, discipline. Like, okay, this is the assignment today. This is what I'm doing, and it's not maybe my passion, what I want to end up doing in photography, but you have that skill in the event a job does come to you.
Correct.
And says, hey, editorial, we're going to do something on ABCFG. You're like, all right, well, I know ABC, like, you know how to do that stepwise.
No, exactly. You definitely hit it on the nail. I think it proves that you've had that experience and that dabble in different kind of areas to make you a multiverse tool, right? Because that's great to be... jack of all trades.
Yeah, being a woman, you're like, hey, you gotta own it, right?
And I hate to say this, just because I don't know, but I also felt that going into photo and video as a woman, I wasn't being taken as serious, learning on my own. It's kind of a man's world.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying that because I think we're everywhere. We can do whatever we want. But it really is kind of a man's profession. And so for a woman to hop in, it was important to have that piece of paper to say, hey, like, I really know what I'm talking about. I'm not just a dumb blonde.
Like, please take me seriously. Please respect me as equal. Which is all kind of that we ask for. Just don't talk down to me like, ugh. It's the proving yourself that kind of takes a lot of work. So is there anything that you're working on now that you can kind of talk about? Like, where is your life kind of leading at this moment in time?
So right now I have my food photography on display at the Arts Factory.
Nice.
It's to me that is an honor. If anyone knows about the art scene here in Vegas, the Arts Factory, I believe, is the heartbeat. I have my food photography on display in the Libra and Leo room. It's on the second floor in room 248. You can go in there and you can see all my sweet treats. That's what I have up there for display. And so what I'm actually looking to do, Libra and Leo, she's a candle maker. And she makes all natural candles. She's a fabulous woman. Everything is with intention. And her room is with intention. She hand selects the people who come in and are guest vendors. And so the space is not just for her, it's for multiple vendors of things that people make with their hands, their heart, their intentions behind it. So we have quite a few different vendors in that room, in that space. And my goal is to tell each of their stories. We have Cactus Jeff, we have Sensual Healing for Vegas with Angelina. We have all kinds of people in there. So I think I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
And then see where it all goes.
That's actually a great kind of way to work the room.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
It's fantastic. So I'm sure there's a story behind everything, and it comes full circle because that's why you're here, and I would love to hear that because every artist, there's something behind it that makes this art into what it is. And so
what's
who are the people?
Right.
Like, what's the why? And how? And, like, you know, what is the end goal? And so that leads me to say to you is that, like, where are you looking to end up? What kind of legacy are you trying to leave behind for yourself?
Wow, that's such a big question. I don't know. I think I just want to, I'm a big believer in storytelling. I think we all have a story and we all need to share it so that we can inspire the next person coming along to help them learn from our mistakes so that they do better. I think just my legacy is just to help people tell their stories, share them in the most brightful way, and so that everyone can be successful. And hopefully that can be infectious and contagious to other people too.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait. I think you should really do like a documentary. That'd be fantastic.
Wow.
How long have you been in Vegas?
So I moved here in 2010.
Okay.
And I actually started a documentary with an artist in the Arts Factory, but he passed away. And I still have a lot of footage of his, so I'm hoping to pick that up. I've kind of healed his loss. That was a rough loss, but I've been here since 2010. I married a sailor and left for 3 years and went to Connecticut. And then we decided to retire here, so we moved back in 2019.
Okay.
So I've been here kind of off and on for almost 13 years, I guess.
So you came back to a whole new Las Vegas.
It was
since
crazy.
You left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the art scene's picking up too, like in all areas of art.
Oh, I'm so hopeful and so joyful at what has happened on Main Street. Just from the time that I left in 2016 and came back in 2019, and just in that amount of time, it was kind of a sketchy area. I mean, there was a lot going on. It wasn't really the warm and cuddly safest place.
Yeah.
And you know, people like Derek at Rebar and you know, recycled propaganda folks and the antique Main Street peddlers. They've really invested in that part, and it's just so nice to see it bright and thriving. You know?
Yeah, the arts
it.
district is really thriving right now, especially for the locals and the newer generation that's coming in, performing, loving music, songwriting, things like that, which is so interesting because we had a talk show before this. And we actually were talking about maritime culture and then also about downtown. So it's interesting that you were like, oh, I married a sailor and then Main Street, downtown. I was like, oh my God, it came full circle.
It does.
Like,
Isn't that funny? It does.
It's amazing. So where really is your goal, apart from telling stories? Is there some place that you want to settle here? Do you want to contribute to Las Vegas art culture, or do you want to expand?
I don't know yet. To be honest, I mean, I'm not sure. Because I had lost my love of doing photography and video work.
Mm.
I just started back into it,
Okay.
getting that passion back. Because for a long time I was really bitter. I didn't want to pick up my camera equipment. I didn't want to touch my lighting. It was a sad place, you know, when you find joy in something that you love and then you lose it like that. It was sad. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I love that.
Just follow God's plan.
Yeah. And I always ask kind of this last question to all of my guests because it kind of sums up their whole interview, how they answer this question. And it's, is there a philosophy that you live by?
I would just say live bright. That's it. Live bright and shine bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brightest you possibly can.
Like Main Street is now.
Yeah.
It comes full circle. I love hearing the answer because whenever they say anything, it really sums up your whole vibe. The story that you told and how you answered just shows kind of the authenticity of your story, why you do what you do, and all of those things, which is amazing because every answer is different. Everyone has a different path that they're going on. And what they say really matches up in the end with how they answer that question. And I love that because you're just kind of going with your heart. And the true artist, actually, is artists that kind of do those things. Now, where can people find you, whether to order kind of your sweet treats or to kind of maybe look at your photography or maybe even hire you as like client-wise?
So I would just say pop on down to the Arts Factory. I'm always down there in the Libra and Leo room on the 2nd floor. You can find displays of my sweet treats. I also do pop-ups in there throughout the month. And you can also order online all my sweet treats. Definitely check that out. There's some fabulous stuff, especially if you like to entertain. That's at starrsview.com.
Yeah. Amazing. You do social media at all? Instagram, Facebook?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that at Amber Starr?
So my photography is A Starr's View for You, and then my sweet treats is A Starr's View Sweet Treats. That's it.
Period.
Very simple.
There you go, guys. The woman, a jack of all trades, just kind of like your mother. But we love it, though. In Vegas, the people here kind of, there's never one that just kind of does one thing.
Yeah.
It's a place where anyone can be accepted doing whatever they do and stick to their own vision. And you are the epitome of that. And we love to see it. I love your contribution to the Arts District. I think there's a lot of people that want to showcase what they do, whether it's painting, drawing, sketching, digital forms. So I'm glad that you already are showcasing and you're there and you're passionate and supporting the arts. Amber Starr, everyone, thank you for being here on the hot seat. It was a great story. I hope to have you back soon.
Absolutely.
Definitely going to check out your pages. It's amazing. So guys, don't go anywhere because we are going to meet our next guest who is another powerhouse woman, so you don't want to miss that. See you after the break.